My name is Jess Cervellon, and I'm super excited to bring you my new podcast, The Juice with Jess. This podcast is going to be about everything in your customer's journey. We're talking acquisition, awareness, making that purchase, retaining that customer, bringing them back around, and everything in between. This is going to be all about delivering dope brand experiences and talking to some really amazing people who are in the customer experience space, the marketing space, and everything in between. Welcome back to another episode of The Juice with me, Jess. This week, I am in New York City, one of my favorite places, and I am sitting here with Leanna Nazzisi. I'm so terrible at last names. I really try before, but I never get it right.
That's perfect.
So Leanna and I go honestly way back. We'll get into that story, but she is the director of CX at Victoria Beckham Beauty.
Yes.
And has been in the beauty industry for some time. Like you worked at Birchbox. Yep. I don't want to tell the audience who you are. You tell the audience who you are.
Yeah. So I've been in customer experience for over 10 years now. Started as an associate, part-time associate at Birchbox. I had a full-time job somewhere else, and I was a subscriber. And I was like, wow, what a cool company. How fun would that be? And when there was like seasonal hire openings, I was like, I'm going to slip my name in there. And it became a career. I went part-time, full-time, and then just moved up and then led that team. And then took a little bit of a pivot and went to Zendesk for a bit. And that was a lot of fun. But I think brand customer experience is like where my heart is.
Totally.
Back here.
Yeah. And we're going to definitely get into that, the difference between CX B2B and CX B2C. And there's nothing wrong with either side of it. I just think it's really different.
It is.
You know, it's super different. But before we get there, I think that our story, our friendship story is really interesting because this is actually the first time Leanna and I are meeting in person, but we've known each other for like, 5 years, something like that.
Longer than that, yeah.
And we met from networking, so during the pandemic, early days of the pandemic, and I don't know if other people out there feel the same way, but and when you're in CX, like, sometimes it can feel like really isolated to get resources, network with people, meet people, like do all the things, right? And this is honestly like why I'm like on this mission of like gassing the industry up at this point, because I think that people in the industry, junior people, need more resources.
100%.
They need more conversations, they need more networking. So the point is, though, I'm going to land this plane. The point is that Leanna and I met networking in like, I don't even know what group, like a Slack group or something.
I do remember there was some sort of like video conference.
Yeah.
With an agenda that we did not stick to.
No.
And it was just, I don't know, it was just fun to like be on the other side, you know, isolated at home in the pandemic, but you're talking about things that matter, customer experience. And my thing has always been like, this is so much more than like an entry point job.
Yeah.
It's how my career started, sure.
Yeah.
But like now it's come to a different place. And that's like a big passion of mine of like you said, trying to like be loud in the space and like convince people, not only like higher up in companies, but also people who are just starting out in their career. It's like, this is not just sitting in a call center hearing complaints all day.
Yeah.
Like you can really revolutionize this industry.
Yeah, totally. And I think that like and this is probably why we're homies, right? Yeah. Because like we are passionate about the same thing in customer experience. Like customer experience isn't just like support or you're picking up the phone and you're typing some things away, like taking tickets. It's not about that. It's about brand experience. Yeah. And maybe like, and we'll dive into this, but like maybe we think that way because we've lived so long on the brand side. I don't know. Like, I don't really know what the science is behind it, but like,
it's hard.
I think it's really important to highlight that customer experience is like, doesn't just start at like when somebody needs help. Like it starts at hello. It starts at hello rather than like service, right?
Yeah.
And I think that that's so important. I think that's so important because it's like, it's everything in like your website journey and your emails and like anything that you do affects the CX team, right? Yeah. Random story. I actually, for one of my clients, CX clients, right? This is a while ago. There was like something to do with their subscription service, and they added like a new tool into it, but like the day of told the CX team. And then there was all these issues, right? But like the point of like talking about this, because like that's a CX journey that like the support team needs to know about. That journey it has to do with your customer experience. Anyway, I'm rambling, but the point is, going back to, now I'm actually going to land my plane. The point is, Leanna and I know each other from a networking opportunity, and we've stayed friends, internet friends mostly, and have learned from each other, but we sought each other out and sought out these things because we needed these resources. And I think that's really important in the industry.
I completely agree. And even the thing that you were saying around like, you know, people need other opportunities. And there's so many entry points in brand experience. Nobody knows your brand better than the customer support team.
Nobody.
They know
they think they
every single entry point, every single URL, every PDP, all the fun acronyms we can think of, but they know the customer journey so well. And it's time to like put them first, you know? I have this like analogy that I always use. And if like anyone knows me, they probably heard me say this 1,000 times and like probably so tired of me saying it, but I stand by it. And it's like, if you're going to think about your company and your brand as a solar system, your customer support team is the sun.
Yeah.
And it does not power without that support team. And they are the core. They're the central of the brand. And giving them as much information, as much resources, as much opportunities. Like there's so many ways to tie thousands of different jobs, KPIs back to support, where it's not just like, let me help you reship something. Let me help you with your broken, you know, whatever. It's so much bigger than that. And it takes a long time, I think, for someone to really think that way if you're on the agent side of it too. Like if you're just sitting there, like you said, so emotionally taxing, day after day, home, remote, like how do you make this into a career? And the more we talk about it, I feel like the more people start to recognize that like, oh yeah, there's stuff I can do here.
Yeah. I mean, there's so much in that. Like, dude, there's so much in that. And I want to point out, and if we're like really diving in and like deep in this, we haven't even gotten to like the other questions, but I think there's so much in that because like, okay, so I don't want to like make this about me, and so I'll just give the TLDR version, but I fell into customer service because I didn't want to do art after art school, right? So I fell into customer service and I created a career out of it. And what's really interesting as I've like ventured down the path and like done all the things, like I always thought that I was going to do something else. I always thought I was, oh, I'm going to do marketing, I'm going to do these other things or, you know, whatever. And then I've actually just found different versions of customer experience. And now that I'm older, like in my career, I'm more of on the marketing side of customer experience. So it's like, it's not just retention, like life cycle, content marketing. Like I like, those are things that I find, loyalty, subscriptions, like all of these things, right? Like those are the things that like bring me joy, right? But at the core of who I am as an individual, I am a customer experience person. So I actually say like, I build brands from a customer-centric lens, right? And so in the importance of like sharing that story and to anybody who's listening and like utilizing this as a resource, if you're like starting off in your CX journey, is that there's so many different career opportunities that can start as the core. You learn the customer, you become empathetic to the customer, you understand the customer's journey in so many different ways. And that actually can be applied to both B2B and B2C.
100%.
And we're gonna get into that.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, rambling, completely rambling. But I mean, I agree with you. I think that like we're a good testament to it, like especially with your career. You went from brand back to B2B to brand again, right? Like, and I think that's really like dope. Like you can flip flop back and forth. I'd love to dive into just the beauty industry and the CX of the beauty industry because you've like spent so much time in that space. What's really interesting about the beauty industry is that it's so personalized. So I'd love for you to like walk me through like an ideal customer experience with a beauty customer.
Oh, absolutely. For me, it's always about like creating these magical moments. And there's something about, I think, you know, it's cosmetics, it's superficial, it's, you know, discretionary spending, all those other fun, words. But people want to feel special. Mm-hmm. And how do you make people feel special? And it's all of these little things. Have you ever read the book Atomic Habits?
And I didn't like that book.
I am like 2 chapters in, so I don't know what I'm talking about.
Okay, no. Yeah.
But his whole bit around like, the small changes to the cycling team, like adds up to gold medals.
Yeah.
And those are the things that I think about. It's like, okay, maybe an ideal experience for someone who's sitting at home, doesn't really know what they want, like asking questions, doing a personalized like email signature. Like we do things that are like so silly, but they add up over time. At the end of all of our email signatures, we put like, best Leanna, link to my favorite product.
I love that. But that's so personalized,
just
right?
Like this is something that I love, It's not like yes, obviously it has like marketing impact and revenue impact, but it's like, this is my favorite product. Like, check it out. Or, when I was at Birchbox and it was like an array of different, subscribers, it was like, okay, here's my picture and here's like my hair type. Here's like, my favorite mascara, and it's like, can I relate to somebody? Can somebody read this email and be like, oh, she understands me.
Yeah.
She doesn't know anything about me. She's reading my email address and like a couple of, bullet points on a profile, but tailoring it to be like, oh, okay, this person likes curly hair. Let me just link a little.
Yeah. Yeah. Okay, when this is the model that I was just thinking about, and I'm going to date myself here.
Oh, let's do it.
So, and I don't know if we're going to be on the same journey on this one, but way back in the day, when I was younger, one of my first jobs, I worked at a video store. Did I date myself?
Oh, I mean, I know exactly what video store you're talking about.
Okay, I'm just making sure
but
because
for
like
the youngins,
Botox will tell you different. Okay,
for the youngins, I don't know if they know.
I know, like youngins probably only know Redbox, right?
I don't even know what that is.
Exactly.
That's how old I am.
It's something that would sit outside of 7-Eleven, and you would get DVDs from. But the point of raving of the video store, right? So in those days, back in my day, the model is you don't have like really the internet to Google search. You don't have all these media streams to like see what the hottest thing is, right? Yep. The biggest movie. And how you would understand personalized recommendations or like even make a purchase at the video store is you would see like the employees of the video store, like there could be like a board or some sort of suggestion thing. And they would be like, Jess's favorite movie today is Empire Records, right? I literally dated myself on that one. I literally
did. Great movie.
I know. So good. Liv Tyler. But my point is, though, is like that's how you would find out like what the hottest thing was, right? Because it was personalized human to human. And in a digital world and like what we're competing against in like customer experience is like those
saturation of
so much media, so many different things. So like those little touches in an email chain or in your signature about like your favorite mascara or your favorite bronzer or whatever it is, like is so important because you're essentially like doing that like that traditional marketing, right?
Like a combination of like customer experience, like you said, traditional marketing, and there's also like this like brand education bit too, especially for like beauty, which can be like so subjective in a way, where it's like, okay, you have this like array of looks, you're gonna hear your products, you're going to photograph this beautiful model in this specific look. And people are like, I want to look like that.
Yeah.
And it's like, that might be really hard to do if like the woman that you're featuring has different hair color, different skin tone, but like the look is so beautiful. So it's like, okay, how do you take what you see off of Instagram, wherever, and twist it in a way that it's like this person can still feel beautiful, still feel special. They might not look exactly like this model, but like I want them to feel that way.
Yeah.
And I know sitting on the other side of it, it's like, that's a really hard look to pull off.
Yeah.
But how can I give them the tips, the tricks, the pairings, the recommendations, or just like, how do you make people feel special?
Yeah.
That to me creates like, retention, people coming back. Like everyone has on all of these like events we've done, everyone always has that one like, I had this terrible customer experience story. Everyone always has one.
Oh, I have 3.
Yeah.
Like literally floating in as memories.
But like how many times have you gone back to that brand? It's probably been the one time and that story has stuck with you for years and years and years. And you're like, I'm never going there again.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay, I don't want to be that person. And I know sometimes in beauty, it's really hard to separate that because it could be hard to achieve some of these like looks and things that we put out there. But in my mind, I'm like, beauty is like so universal.
Yeah.
We're not discriminating against anyone. Everybody has a face.
Yeah.
Everybody has eyelashes for mascara. Like, let's make them feel beautiful.
Yeah.
And how do we do that?
Yeah. So, I mean, that actually raises a question in my mind is like, how does Victoria Beckham Beauty specifically do beauty or create beauty that's inclusive?
Yeah.
Like what do you guys do specifically in that journey?
So I feel like one thing that's really important to us is like a different array of skin tones and textures. And when I started, I've been there a little over a year. I was like employee like 10.
Ugh. We love a startup.
Yeah, very, very startup, which you wouldn't think for the name, you know, and like the
Feastables.
instant recognition. But what we really realized, at least in my first couple of months, what the team that was there, it was like, we need like a complete overhaul of everything. You know, we're like a 5-year-old brand, but after 5 years, images look pretty old. Can you imagine your headshot from 5 years ago? I would never want that out in the world.
I was blonde.
Right? Like,
I am not blonde anymore. So straight hair mostly too.
Yeah. Oh yeah, my straight hair headshot, you know, before I was afraid for the curls.
I know.
I don't want that out in the world, you know? So it's like, we recognize immediately that it was like, okay, we need to revive these images. And we also need to bring in like, not only the customer that we market towards, but the customer who's buying. And there's a lot of research in like who that person is in the different parts of the world they are and like what they're looking for. And the best resource to tap into that is the support team because they're the ones talking to this person. And so we put together like a group of, you know, okay, here's like the generic like profile of who our, you know, customer service customer is and what they're looking for. Because I always feel like if you take the time to write into a support team and say, I really wish you featured more models with gray hair. One person, how many people are thinking that but didn't write in?
Totally.
You know?
Totally. And like one thing to keep in mind on that point, right, is like the people writing into you, like exactly what you're saying, the people writing into you is one person.
Yep.
But the people that are writing on social media or like talking about you that aren't even writing into you are probably saying the same exact thing.
Yep.
Right? So you have to take that one person writing into you seriously, as well as like explore other channels too.
Yeah, definitely. And we're in this area now where it's like, okay, Victoria is, you know, a legend, but she's also a mom. You know, she's going to be 50 years old. Like, you know, she looks
beautiful,
drop dead gorgeous.
Yeah.
Like, you know, she is aging in that way where it's like, we want to feature people around her age too.
Yeah.
You know, and we want to make sure that the beauty industry is open for everyone. It's not just about, you know, specific look. Nobody wants to see skincare on 25-year-old models.
No.
You know?
No.
Like,
but so many people do that.
Right?
I was just thinking about that, like like my journey on like social media, and I'm like,
all the Korean skincare of these like cute little 17-year-old girls. And I'm like,
what about the brown girls?
That way.
Yeah, you know?
Yep. Yeah.
Like, what about me?
Exactly. And that to me has always been like, you know, as someone who is, I always feel like our support team is always the most diverse group at any company. Your support team is always super diverse, different mix of cultures, backgrounds, you know, and if they can't use the product, then we're not servicing the customer.
Right. Guess what, fam? The customer community is back. If you're not already familiar with the community, you can sign up to get your questions answered, discuss best practices, and connect with other professionals in the CX space. Check it out today at community.customer.com. See you there. How do you guys approach feedback loops though? So like, so you get the conversations, you obviously have those conversations, like, are you tagging it? Are you creating any sort of like voice of the customer reporting? Like, what does that look like?
Oh yeah. So we do a lot of reporting. We do something that I really love at our company where we do like an all hands weekly. It's like a marketing meeting. Every team has about 5 minutes to present like top line what happened last week. And for me, I'm like, okay, I can talk about, you know, here was our first reply time. Here's, you know, whatever. And I do that. You know, I put it in a little graph that people could read later. But I like to pull, okay, what are like these like, you know, customer moment of the week? What were the things that people were talking about? And I like to look at the ticket types and like, you know, data that is not like the bulk of our inbox. One that comes up a lot is like, how do you use this product? It's maybe like 40 a week. You know, that's not a lot considering the size of the business, but it's like 40 people are asking like, what's the best way to use this? And it's like, we've already hooked them. They've already bought it. They've already got it. Now it's in their hands and they're like, I still need something. And I'm like, ooh, there's something here. There's something here that we're missing in the journey that people are coming to us and asking. I'm not a person who goes anywhere to ask for help. I would just be like, all right, I'll just figure it out.
But that's a generational thing though, too. Yeah. Right? Like you probably have, sorry, you'll tell me more about it, but you probably have older generations like in your inbox.
Oh, absolutely. That they're like, you know, I think the customer that we hear from the most in the how to use is the customer who has either has a bunch of stuff in their cart or already like purchased and they're like, I'm 75 years old. I love Victoria. I love eyeliner. I want to look this way. What's the best pairings for mature skin? Or how do I, you know, make, I don't know, look less tired or whatever. I mean, keys that all women want, right? You know? And I'm like, there's something here where like we're surfacing these beautiful images, this beautiful product. It's absolutely fantastic. But if you don't know, if you don't have like the makeup artistry knowledge,
right?
But you're just excited about like the goodies. Yeah. Now what? And I'm like, there's a moment here that we can insert something. Yeah. And I'm trying to build like, what is that something? Yeah. And how do we want to tailor it? Do we want to do it like a loyalty sort of like concierge where you get a little bit more something? I think the power comes from like these first time buyers where it's like, what can I stick in their box? Like literally, even if it was like a QR code.
I was just going to say, have you explored QR codes?
Yeah. Yeah. So I'm like, I'm trying to figure out like, because you don't grasp anyone's attention the way you do when they have the physical product in your hand.
That first moment, like you'll lose them. Like if you, and that's the thing. And I'm just saying it more on the consumer end of things, right? Like I've never worked in beauty, right? I slang chocolate and like wellness brands. Like literally that's like the brands that I've worked at, right? But like I think this is very consistent though, and like the how to use, no matter what like that product is, that how to use, you lose the attention span of the customer if you don't get it right at the time of purchase. And it's not necessarily like, okay, great, you can go and do the educational email and you can do all these pieces in their journey. Right. But then when they physically get the product from the store or from, you know, it's come to them in the mail, you need something there that continues that hook and that journey. Because not everybody's, like if I'm looking at like contouring, I just learned to contour. I'm almost 39 and I just learned to contour. But my point is though, is like contour, for instance, right? Like how I learned to do that is like being overwhelmed on social media, right? Yeah. But then like a quick how-to guide from a Fenty beauty product that I got, I was like, oh, that's so easy. Yeah. And it was like I got like a little sampler kit. And so it was the contour stick and then the highlighter stick. And then in the box was like a small card that like three steps.
So smart.
Break it down. Super simple, right? You can even use that concept of like a QR code, right? Like something that stays on the package forever. So then they can I travel a lot, right? Like you wanted to continue with them.
I completely agree. Because I think about like, you know, online shopping now. We're like a digital company. I do probably 90% of my online shopping from my phone. there is no moment where I'm like completely glued to my phone. I'm cooking, there's music on, like the TV's on, like you don't have my attention. I'm buying things, but like you don't have my attention. And like you said, if you're doing like these like educational post-purchase emails, how many times are you reading emails and also doing other shit? You know, like when the box comes, I'm dropping everything. Everybody shush. I'm opening my package. Like, look at all these fun things. And nothing else matters in that moment. And I'm like, that is magic right there. And there's something there that we need to like insert.
Yeah.
And that's what I'm trying to explore this year. It's like, what things could we test in packaging? And just drop little like lines of like, you know, beauty stylist tips, or like even like a line to like, do you like your product? How are you feeling? Like email us, you know, like something to connect it back to the brand, back to the customer experience team. I think is so powerful.
Yeah. You know, there's this brand, this beauty brand that I'm thinking of. It's called Gensee, Gensee. Wait, how many E's did I say? 2 E's. Whatever. Yeah. Gensee. Okay. And they have a really cool journey, and this is like actually what hooked me. So I found them on like an Instagram ad. I got an Instagram ad. Okay. So let's talk about this journey. I got. I'm on the Instagram ad. I get I'm like, oh, look at that blush, or that like that lip balm. Like I was like, oh, that's really nice, right? So I click onto it, and the journey from there to the website takes me directly to what that product is that I was looking at. So the UTM link was literally to the products that it was showing in that image, right? And like, granted, these products are like super simple. So it's like, there's not really like a how-to instruction, but that journey of like, of you going from like, oh, okay, I got by the ad. Okay, I want to go purchase it, but I don't have to go and like explore and do crazy stuff on the internet, right? Like I go and see the image of like the person like utilizing it, right? So that sticks with me after purchase. So I think it's a little bit of post-purchase, but I also think it's pre-purchase as well.
Definitely. There's like you know, you can have all these like beautiful editorial images of things, but like there's something about like reviews, or like could we do like embed a video on a PDF? Like videos like speak volumes. TikTok is something that I think that we're exploring, you know, in the next couple weeks. It might be, you know, that
TikTok shop crushes.
It's unbelievable.
You get like some user-generated content, UGC, and like get like an influencer to do that, right? Or micro or macro. And then put like, this is how I use the product. Okay, go and purchase it, right? And then they can go refer back to that influencer video constantly.
Exactly. And it's like, this is the way I think digital e-commerce is like shifting, where the brand has to be reputable, and you have to have a good support experience. You have to have a good brand experience. But you also, I think people, at least in my experience, like, I need a little bit of extra info.
Yeah.
And if the brand isn't providing that, where do you go? You go to social media.
Yeah.
And if you don't have a social media presence there, or if you're, you know, the product, you'll see if your product fails on social media. People will talk about it, you know? So I feel like I am even influenced much more by like random people sitting at home recording things. Look at this vacuum. And I'm like, whoa, dude, we need that. Like one video of some girl in like Oklahoma.
I know. Like, I really needed my Dyson. I remember this one Christmas, I like really needed my Dyson because some micro influencer was like, look at this Dyson vacuum. And I was like, I need it.
My new obsession is like car detailing videos.
Oh, yeah.
You watch those and I'm like, I could do that. I can't do that. But I'm like, wow.
The little sticky thing to like get all the like dirt in the crevices.
This is fascinating.
Dude, what is wrong with us? Like
it's the power of like, you know, visual arts, if you will.
It's visual arts. You're absolutely right. Like content marketing. Like I truly believe this. And maybe because like we come from like influencer creator brands, right? And like where it's like content is queen.
Yep.
Right. But I truly believe in anything, B2B, D2C, like whatever, content is the queen at this point. Like people's attention span and the consumer's behavior, right? Like consumer behavior attention span is so small now.
Yeah.
So small because we've like literally just sit online all the time doing all these things, and that in order to market to somebody and to order to get them to even convert, you got to like literally lead them to the water to go and drink it.
Absolutely.
And you have to do that with content.
Yep. And then you have to like serve them tea and biscuits and all the other things.
The level of personalization, that customers expect now is so insane.
Yep.
It's so insane. I mean, listen, I'm a consumer. I will be real with you. Okay. Like, I mean, this is a good example of like personalization stuff, but like I'm getting married this year and I haven't even found my wedding dress because it's like I'm so overwhelmed. Like I see all the things on content and I'm like, okay, like that's a really nice dress, but like I'm so overwhelmed that I can't go purchase it online. So I need to go have a personalized experience in a bridal shop because I want to be it's not that I want to be waited on hand and foot.
But you need the
extra push.
Yes.
To buy the thing.
Yep.
You know? Speaking of personalization, this is going to switch gears a little bit, but I'm curious for you and like your support realm, are you utilizing any sort of AI to like help you with personalization, any of that stuff?
So right now we're doing a little bit of AI as sort of like a front end ticket deflection bit.
Yeah.
A little bit, excuse me, a little bit around like, training it to answer product questions specifically. Because what I think is most powerful with AI, at least for our brand right now, is this like pre-purchase journey where we get a lot of like performance marketing ads are like skyrocketing. You know, there's a lot of visuals of the brand out there. The click-through rate is great. But once they're there, I'm like, how long are they spending here? This isn't really like an area that like, is really traditional customer support, if you will. But I'm just curious because I'm like, how long are they spending on here? What are they looking at? What are they reading? What are they not reading? And like, if you think about if someone walked into a store, a beauty store, or if you walk into Sephora.
Overwhelmed
and you're just like literally deer in headlights.
Yeah.
And someone comes up to you and is like, what can I help you? Or let me show you whatever. And then you like ease a little bit. I want that AI to do that.
Yeah.
Somebody's like frozen on this PDP and I imagine they're just like deer in headlights. What the hell do I buy here? And we're training the AI to pop up and be like, I see you're looking at, this eyeshadow. If you like this, it would pair well with X.
Yeah.
Click here, see this look, build this thing. And like, that's where I'm trying to train AI a little bit.
Yeah.
Besides, the generic like, ticket deflection, where's my order, returns. But yeah, that's what we're playing around with this year.
I love it. I love like the conversion theories of AI. So when I was at Feastables, I actually like built a chatbot to not only deflect tickets, like I got all the deflection, like did all those things, but I actually had it sitting on the PDP pages. Granted, like I'm slinging chocolate. Okay. I think I think your products are like far more complex than this, but like you can utilize this theory, right? So sitting on the PDP, I had this little like Feasty bot. Like then we had our mascot was Feasty, who was
I was just gonna say, do you name your AI?
Yeah,
We're trying to figure out like a name for her. Like
Vicky. Vicky B. That's actually a good one.
I kind of like it. I'm gonna pitch that.
So Vicky B could be like sitting on like these PDP pages, right? And just like Feasty Bot was sitting on these pages and would pop up after like a certain point of time and be like, hey, do you need help making your purchase, right? Yeah. And then would just be like, okay, blah, blah, blah. Like, okay, you're interested in this like milk chocolate, but like, have you tried this other bestseller? Or, oh, you really like this almond one. Have you tried the crunch, right? Like personalizing those things, but like making it so conversational. And AI, like, I think what's interesting is people think that AI is just like this free-spirited thing that just can like come up with like thoughts. But we've actually have all been utilizing AI for some time now.
Forever.
Because AI is also considered to be intent-based.
Yep.
And so like this bot that I built is very intent-based, even though it's like this thing that comes up with a conversation like, hey, how are you? But these are all things that you program into it.
Oh, absolutely.
Like it's not like just freely going and saying like, hey, Sam, this is Vicky B. Like
Smarter child.
Yeah, like it's not smarter child, you know? It's literally like all of these things are programmed into it. And so that's very like the intent-based, right? Yep. But my point is like you like whether you're utilizing like the free-spirited AI or the intent-based AI, people shouldn't be afraid of it because you can like build out the flow maps, you know?
I feel like people look at AI and they're like, this is going to take my job.
Yeah.
You know, especially in our world. They're like, this is going to take my job, you know?
Yeah.
And I'm like, if you really think about it, you've been using AI forever.
I know.
Even if you're like filters in your Gmail.
Yeah.
In a way, that's a little bit, it's not as advanced as, you know, here's a chatbot talking to you.
Yeah.
But there's a little bit of like technology smarts within those things that you don't realize. And I think there's like a stigma about AI for brands where it's like, you know, this is going to like deplete the workforce and, you know, I'll be out of a job. And I'm like, well, who's going to train the AI?
Yeah.
Who's building the personality for Vicky B?
Yeah,
you know?
Vicky B.
And who's building
We're trademarking that one. Right? Vicky B. Yeah. No, I mean, you're totally right. You're totally right. Like people are so afraid of AI, but it goes back to what we were saying in the beginning, right? CX is like the core of what you're doing. Yeah. And it's a part of your journey to go and do other things, right? So like, thinking about AI and like building all these things to like deflect or like to help convert or whatever. And maybe it takes the salesperson out of it. Maybe it takes the tickets away from the support agent. But however, like that means that the salesperson can go and like the marketing team, I should say, can focus on other things. The support team can go focus on other things and upskilling in other areas in what they're doing, right?
Yeah.
And like, a lot of the times too, and I would love to see this happen a lot more, AI being utilized for feedback, right? For tagging, bagging, like all that stuff, like getting like, and then giving you like a rundown of like top sentiments, top inquiries.
Smart.
And then that way, like then the support team can go and run and go fix the customer journey.
Yep.
You know?
And this is what your customer is saying without you having to sit there for hours running your tag reports, running your whatever. This is what the customer's saying. There's so many opportunities to create, like, for me, I'm like, their AI can help bring education to the customer because in actuality, customer service is probably like 80% reactive.
Yeah.
You know? And the reactionary things are like, where's my order? This is broken. I want to return.
Yeah.
You don't need a human to do any of that. Apple doesn't, Amazon doesn't. So like, why do we as small brands need that? Like, should I send an email and be like, I want to return something and wait 24 hours for someone to be like, okay.
It's a terrible customer experience.
Like, you know, this is not the world we're living in now. So like, have AI do that.
Yeah.
Put it up there. The customer will be so much more excited. Wow, I returned this in 3 minutes and now I don't have to check my email. I don't have to whatever. And now like your team can do fun stuff.
Yeah.
They could create like, you know, hey, 2 days later, send a personalized email or text or whatever. I saw that you returned XYZ. Do you have 5 minutes? I want to talk about the product. Or like, what didn't you like?
Or what you didn't like? Or how could we educate you more? Like, oh man, imagine even if you like utilize Vicky B to just do education. Yeah. Like, so, okay, I want to go and return the things, right? But why do you want to go return it? And like helping like, just kind of decipher that information. So then when it gets to the agent's able to like actually like give that personalized, humanized experience.
Have some sort of like win back or something. Like opportunities are endless.
Opportunities are so endless. And I think we have to embrace it. We just put boundaries around it.
Yeah.
You know? Okay, I want to switch gears one more time.
Sure.
Because like we're getting to that
part
of the show, right? So I think one of the things we were going to talk about like off camera, but I wanted to save it on camera.
Yeah.
Is the difference between CX B2B and CX and D2C. So, I think like there's like the generic responses to that, which is like support, success, like in B2B. And then in like D2C, it's like very focused on like retention, ironically enough, these are like the same exact things, just different names, retention and support. But and I actually don't even want to go there. Like what I'm curious about, because you previously worked at a help desk, right?
Yeah.
And decided you wanted to go back to brand.
Yep.
I would love to hear in your own words, like not necessarily like why you decided to, but what was it like that you were so passionate about brand versus like CX and B2B?
That's a great question, because I felt like a lot of my success in my early career at like brands at Birchbox was through my vendor relationships. Mm-hmm. I had these goals. I had things I wanted to do. I had like objectives from, my boss. And I'd be like, how am I supposed to do this? And everything was always about cost cutting as well. So I would like have these meetings with my vendors and be like, I've been tasked to do this thing. Here's how I'm thinking about it. Any tips? And, my help desk partners and whoever, they'd be like, oh yeah, implement this, do a little bit of this, and they would just come with these great suggestions. They would like teach me a little bit more about the product that we're already paying for and help me build a new experience. And then we'd like test and try. And there was so much success. And like year over year, I was like, this is so cool. I feel like I owed a part of my career growth to these people. And I was like, I hope that, they get credit in their own conversations, in their own companies to be like, yeah, we helped this person at Birchbox go from manager to director,
Yeah. And
I was like, how fun would it be to pay it back to other people? How many events have we done where we've gone to, these like CX networking things and everybody's talking about the same problem? And I've been in events where I'm like, I had that problem and these people helped me solve it. Mm-hmm. I would love to solve that for others. So that's where I got in that world. But when I was there, it was a whole different story because it all depends on the passion of who your client is.
Yeah.
And I feel like the clients that I had, it was like hit or miss. And they weren't as passionate as I was as a CX leader. And they'd be like, yeah, that could be good, but we're not interested in optimization right now, or we're not interested in.
It's so hard.
Like I'm why?
If for anybody viewing in, I wish you could see like my face right now because it's so hard convincing people who are very stuck and we talk about traditional marketing.
Yeah.
Let's talk about traditional customer experience.
Oh, bro.
Traditional customer experience individuals and B2B are so hard to get them across the line to like not thinking that this is just a call center and to think of it like as a customer experience and a brand experience. And I think that's where like you and I like absolutely align is that it's for us because we come from that brand side. When we say brand experience, I'm literally not saying e-com brand. No. I'm literally saying the culture of your company.
Yep.
The culture of your company and the culture of your product. And that's the experience that I'm trying to give to your customer. But it's so interesting because it's like you see these people who have like, and call it customer support still.
Right.
They're so stuck in their ways.
And it's like, people always talk about, you always hear this phrase, meet the customer where they are.
Yeah.
You can't meet them if the only channel you offer is phone.
Yeah.
That's not where the customer is. I don't think I've picked up the phone to call someone this month.
Yeah.
Maybe my mother.
I think I'm going to end up getting stabbed for saying this one. That's probably sounds really harsh, but like I'm going to get some heat for saying this one, but like I'm sorry, man, like we don't really do phone support that often. Like
we don't
I don't even like supporting phone support anymore.
I refuse.
Yeah.
I refuse to offer phone support because I think it's an open avenue to keep people stuck in like this complaint loop.
Absolutely.
And I think people, and it's also, this is like a generational thing too. And we have an older customer a little bit and beauty's hard. And I'm like, if one thing goes wrong and we have an open phone line, I can have an agent on the phone for 30 minutes.
Oh, absolutely.
And how do we get them to, and it's more pressure, I feel like, and it's a lot more work to teach the agent these like, negotiating with like getting somebody off the phone, how to keep someone on hold, all this like mannerism and just, dude.
I know. Let's do a different channel.
Let's do a different channel.
Let's expand the channel.
Everybody has an email.
Yeah.
You have to.
Yeah.
Now everyone has an email, text, SMS, WhatsApp. Like let's kind of stay there.
Yeah.
And maybe for people who are like really, really special, we can have a secret bat phone.
Oh, I love that. Vicky B phone.
Yeah, right. And it's like, it's going back to like, our original topic where it's like, it's so hard. I found it very difficult with my clients where it's like, I could tell immediately the people that I was speaking to never use the product, don't care about customer support in that way.
Yeah.
And it's like, I can tell you all these things to optimize, to save you money, to save you time. But if this is not a priority for your business, then we're just wasting 45 minutes on a Zoom call right now.
Yeah.
And I was like, where are the people who want to disrupt?
Yeah.
Where are those
Let's
folks?
all be more disruptive.
Yeah.
That's the point. Gas it up.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, Leanna, we have entered the end of the road. I don't know where I was going with that one, but
missing Boys to Men now.
No, honestly, like I really feel like we should insert that because I always say that same thing. We have approached the end of the road.
And then pause for clip.
Pause for Boys to Men. Tell the audience where they can find you.
You can find me. So all of my social medias are all the same. It's Leanna Banana 523. You can email me, first dot last name, Gmail. Email Victoria Beckham Beauty customer service. Yeah. We'll send you stuff. I want to hear what you like.
Personalization from Leanna.
Yeah. Straight from the source.
Cool. Well, we'll link Leanna's LinkedIn in the show notes as well. But I really appreciate you coming on.
Thanks for having me.
And thank you for tuning in to another episode of The Juice. And we'll see and hear you, or you'll hear me next Thursday. Hey, wow, you made it to the end of the episode. That means that you like me and I like you, which also means you should subscribe to this show.